You can't grow your fitness business if you're too busy running it. And that's the trap that most coaches find themselves in. And I want you to sit with that for a second, because you too are too busy running it, because you have had no time to build the things that would actually let it grow. And so what's happening is you're staying stuck. Not because you're doing things incorrectly or wrong, but because you're doing all the things. And there are only so many hours of the day that you can input into the business. So I've got a quick question for you. I want you to think about last week. How many hours did you spend on doing things that had absolutely nothing to do with actually coaching a client? Things like your admin, your invoicing, your scheduling of sessions or appointments, your DMs, your onboarding, your chasing payments, your writing content, all of these different bits and pieces, even following up leads manually, all these different little bits and pieces add up. And honestly, I'm gonna have a guess. It's probably more than half your working week that you're stuck doing these boring, mundane, daily tasks. And every one of those hours is an hour that you could be spending growing your business, not sitting behind a computer doing the admin. That's the problem right there. And that is what we're going to fix right now. But before we get into the solution, I want to say something very clearly. Getting to capacity is not failure. It's actually evidence that you've built something real. Like, you're good at what you do. People can see that. You're helping change people's lives. And it's funny because a lot of coaches actually never get there. They stay stuck in this inconsistency, in never filling up their client roster, never getting to a point where their business is actually running and moving forward. You have gotten past that. You've built the demand. Clients are coming in, the calendar is full or almost full, and things are moving, and that matters. So I want to congratulate you on that first off. The issue is not that you've built something bad though. The issue is that you built the first version of the business. The version that's held together by your personal effort, your manual processes, your labor, your hours. And that version has a ceiling. And don't get me wrong, every business is built purely on individual efforts initially. That's the ceiling. Right now though, you're hitting it. You're at that ceiling and it's time to break through. That is not a sign to give up. That ceiling means it's a sign to rebuild the foundations. It's a sign to move the business forward so we can grow beyond what you can personally handle. So let me be specific about what's actually eating your time, because naming it and being aware of it matters so much. The time problem in a coaching business is almost always a leverage problem, not a time management problem, not a productivity problem. It's a leverage problem, meaning the system that you're operating right now is not designed to multiply your output. It's designed to match it 1 for 1. 1 hour of your effort produces 1 hour of your results. There's no compounding effect, there's no multiplication, there's no asset being built that works when you're not. And so here's what it looks like in practice. Every new client you bring on requires you to manually walk them through the onboarding process, sending them the same welcome email, uploading their contact information to your phone, the same questionnaire, the same program access links, explaining the same process that you've explained 50 times before. That's not coaching, that's admin. And it's costing you an hour per client per intake of a client. Every single invoice that doesn't get paid on time requires a manual chase. You send a manual reminder, you wait, you send another one, you wait again, eventually pick up the phone or see them during the sessions. That's another hour per month problem per client. Every single lead who drops out of a conversation requires a manual follow-up that you either remember to send or forget because you were too busy, or you send it too late so they've gone cold. Either way, it's a mental load that's eating away at your capacity, even when you're not actively doing it. And every client gets a slightly different version of their program explained to them, because there's no standardized delivery process. There's no standardized approach. It lives in your head and it gets reconstructed every time. And I'm not saying to build the same exact program for every single person and give them that, because that's not what your coaching is about. I know that coaching is customized. But none of these tasks require expertise. They don't require your expertise, yet all of them are taking your time. And that right there is the leverage problem. So here's what I want you to understand. Here's the reframe. The goal is not to work less. The goal is to make every hour count for more than just an hour. And so automations and systems are not about cutting corners or being handoffs with your clients or giving them a poorer experience, because the best coaches that I work with are deeply present with their clients, but they are only doing the things that actually require their presence, their expertise, their manual output. Everything else is handled by infrastructure that they've built and now runs without them. So what I want you to do is think about it this way. Right now, your business runs because you show up every single day and you make it run. And that's admirable. Like, I've got to give it to you. Good work on that. You got here, but what's gotten you here is not going to get you to the next step. And I can guarantee you that, because the next version of your business runs because you built things to run it and you show up to do the work only you can do. Coach, create, grow, close. That is where your hours should be going. Everything else should be automated, should be systemized, should eventually be delegated. And that right there is leverage. And it's the only real path to go away and break through this ceiling, the ceiling that's holding you back. It's the only way to break through. And so to get here, there are 3 layers. And I'm going to give them to you right now, and I'm going to break them down so they make more sense so you can go and implement. Each one gives you some time back. Together, they change the infrastructure of how your business operates. Layer number 1 is automate the repeatable. Anything that happens the same way every single time should not require your manual input. Client onboarding is the biggest one. The welcome sequence, the intake form, the program access, the first touch points of the instructions of getting started. All of that can fire automatically. The moment someone is marked as a new client in your system, or the moment you take that initial payment on a specific page, you set it up once and it runs every single time without failure. Same thing for billing. Automated recurring invoices mean you stop chasing payments and you start collecting them. Same thing for your scheduling. A booking link with a preset availability means no more back and forth emails to find the right time. One layer of automation done properly can give you 4 to 6 hours back per week immediately. It's so simple, yet people don't do it. Layer number 2 is systemized client delivery. Your expertise should not live exclusively in your head. It should live in a structured, repeatable delivery system that clients move through consistently. This means a documented program framework, pre-recorded education where appropriate, templates, check-in processes, and clear milestones that do not require you to reinvent the wheel during every single client onboarding. When delivery is systemized, you can serve more clients in the same amount of hours because the infrastructure is doing the heavy lifting between your touch points. You are still the coach, but you are not also the program designer, the content creator, the support desk for every single client at the same time. And layer number 3 is build outreach infrastructure that works in the background. So right now, your lead flow probably lives or dies based on how much active outreach that you specifically do that week. When you're busy, your outreach stops. When your outreach stops, the pipeline dries up. When the pipeline dries up, 2 or 3 months later, you're scrambling again because people are leaving and you've got nothing to replace those people with. And so the fix is to build systems that keep the top of your funnel moving, whether you're actively working or not, whether you're with clients or not, whether you're resting or not. Content that's scheduled in advance, automated follow-up sequences for warm leads, DM conversation triggers that fires when someone engages with your content. Lead flow should not be dependent on you having a good week, on you having spare time. It should be an infrastructure that runs automatically because you've set it up to operate the way you need it to. So let me give you an example of what happens when this exact stuff is set up in your business. One of the coaches that we recently worked with was exactly at this point. Full roster, no time, completely maxed out. By his own calculation, he was spending about 15 hours per week on things like admin, on onboarding, on manual follow-ups, on content creation. 15 hours. That's almost 2 full working days, just keeping the business existing, keeping the business alive, keeping the business moving forward. That's it. So what we did was we built out his onboarding automation. We set up recurring billing. We created a standardized delivery framework, and he put a follow-up sequence in place for the leads that are already in his pipeline. Within just 3 weeks, he had reclaimed 11 of those 15 hours. He took 8 of them and put them into structured outreach and content. And within 6 weeks, he added 4 new clients without working a single extra hour. The capacity was already there. It was just buried under the manual tasks, the admin, the outreach, all the boring stuff that you should never have required in the first place. The things that shouldn't have needed his attention, his effort, his energy. And so if you want to know specifically where your biggest time drains and what it looks like to actually fix them, specific to you and your business, then what I want you to do is this. Go back, send me a DM with the word leverage. I'll personally reach out and we'll jump on a quick screen share. I'll share my screen with you. I'll show you exactly where the hours are going and what the automated version of those processes actually look like for your specific situation. There's no pitching, there's no pressure, there's just clarity. There's just me helping, me serving, me giving, because I'm sick and tired of seeing great coaches like you stuck in this problem. So just one word, leverage. Go back, shoot me that DM with the word leverage, and let's get your time back together.